something that was just on top of my mind recently, more like just right now. So I was thinking about, I don't know, what it takes to be successful or whatever. And I remember reading or watching a video by Steve Bartlett, right? Host of the Diary of a CEO podcast. And I remember that he made a video, or maybe spoke specifically about what he said were the keys to success. I had a thought that I was like, is passion something that I need to have in order to be successful at whatever goal I need to have? And I keep telling myself that if that was the case, then I might be screwed, because when I really think about what I'm passionate about right now, right? And I would say passion, the things that I'm passionate about are the things that I feel very curious about, right? Things that I'm like, I just want to know more about it just for the sake of knowing more about it, right? And so for me, that would be some video games sometimes, right? Um, Dating sometimes, right? And can't think of anything else right now. But if I were to ask myself, what are certain things that I feel curious about and want to know more about just to know more about, those are the two things that come to my mind right now. Oh, and I guess um, the psychology of myself, right? Like, I guess me trying to learn why I do certain things is another thing that I'm passionate about, we'll say. And so if I were to say that I will only pursue careers or jobs based off of what I'm passionate about, then I'm very limited in the things that I can pick as a career and as a job. And so then I started thinking, what if, like, the people that I look at online anyway, who are successful and make a lot of money, I wonder if, right, they weren't like me and were like, oh, I can only pick from the things that I'm passionate about, right? What if they didn't think like that? What if they instead went, um, okay, I need to pick from things that I at least don't like, rather than things that I'm passionate about, and then try to solve a problem with those things, right? If we, I mean, a lot of people though who are successful tend to say you got to be passionate about it, right? Like you got to love it, right? Hormozy would say something like, "Oh, I was passionate about fitness, that's why I started a gym, and then I became passionate about business, and that's why I did business." Stephen Bartlett said, "If you're gonna do this for like 10 years, you gotta be passionate about it, right?" Mr. Beast would be like, "Well, I was passionate about making videos, so da 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 da," right? But I would like to think that that's not a part of the secret sauce. I would like to think that that's not a part of the secret sauce, because then I look at myself and I'm like, well, then I'm very limited to the kind of things that I could pick. So what if it's not about, oh, I need to be passionate about it first, but instead I just got to be like, what interests me, right? Sales interests me, right? Um, AI interests me, and maybe it's because of all the hype, but at the very least there's interest there. AI interests me, and movies interest me. Films, oh, that's another thing I guess I'm passionate about. Movies and films interest me. And why don't I just start there? That's three different topics for me, right? Sales, AI, films, right? Movies, films, or yeah, movies and films, right? And then from there, I think to myself, what skills can I learn, and how can I use those skills to solve a business problem, right? And I would say in my head, the only business problems that matter are how can I help businesses make more money? How can I help businesses reduce cost? Um, how can I help a business gain more status, right? And I think there's two other things, but I can't remember the other ones. But if I can solve any of those business problems, then I think once I do that, then I have a product or a service. If I then sell that product or service, or get good at selling that product or service, that's when money can start rolling in, right? And so I think, I don't know for sure, but I think a lot of people might have the wrong mindset. If their goal is like mine and they want to make a lot of money, A lot of people might have the wrong mindset by first thinking, what job should I aim for, or what career should I aim for, right? Because I think I heard somebody say this already, but no job is really made with a specific kind of person in mind, right? Like jobs exist because somebody has a problem that needs to be solved, right? And that's simply it. No job is catered towards a specific kind of person. So it's kind of maybe naive, if that's the word. It's kind of naive to go out there and be like, oh, I'm meant to be a programmer. I'm meant to be a personal trainer. The job never existed with you or was never created with you in mind. So how could you be like you and all the intricacies that make you, right? Your experiences, your tendencies, your character, habits, whatever it may be. How can that job be a tailor fit for you when the job was never made with you in mind? So anyway, back to the whole video I was watching with Stephen Bartlett said one of the keys to success is obsession, right? Which I can absolutely understand a little bit better now, compared to a year ago when I was like, what is this obsession thing? So to me, I look at obsession as basically just focus, focus and an ability to say no to basically everything else, right? I kind of stole this a little bit from Hormozy, to be honest. And what I think obsessive people are really good at doing is basically being consistent, right? Obsession is when you think about something over and over and over and over again, and you basically don't stop thinking about it, or you have a hard time not thinking about it, right? And because you have a hard time not thinking about it, you tend to do it regularly. And because you do it regularly and you're consistently doing inputs, that tends to create I don't know what the word is, but create momentum and lead you towards whatever objective that you're trying to achieve, right? So I would absolutely agree. Yeah, obsession is definitely a key to success, not necessarily the key, but it is a fundamental key to success, which is something I gained from the video. Another thing that I also wanted to mention that I got from the Stephen Bartlett video. By the way, this is an interview Stephen Bartlett did. I can't remember whose video it was, but I know it was a Stephen. If you just search up Stephen Bartlett interview on YouTube, it'll just come up. Right? He's in a white quarter zip, in a chair or something. Another thing that I think is also very important, and I would like to mention that I also got this from skimming a little bit of one of Jeff Bezos's letter to stakeholders. And I think the main thing that he got correct was basically, if you notice that there's something that is stirring people up in some way, right? Like, it's making people feel, maybe, I don't know if it's pessimistic. That's Stephen Bartlett's words. He said pessimistic. Then you have to like pay attention to it, right? Someone like Stephen Bartlett, when I did a quick Google search on him on Wikipedia or whatever, it said that he started his social media company, Social Chain, when he was like 18 or 19 in the year 2013, 2014. This is like 8 years after YouTube first started, right? And probably only a couple of years after social media was basically on the rise, right? 2013, 2014. This is back before there was even any sort of like systematic process towards building an audience. People probably weren't even thinking about building an audience. Maybe a select few, right? Were thinking about building an audience. And yet he leaned into that and it seemed to work for him, right? But now, if you were to basically repeat what he tried to do in the year 2026, it would never have the same effect because he was one of the first ones in the game and he maximized it. So if you were to apply that to 2026, AI, for the buzzword that it is, I think is basically the best and closest thing, all right? No one really, let me not say no one, but a lot of people don't really know how it's going to pan out, right? Like, it's a hype word, it's a buzzword for sure, and I'm sure social media was a huge buzzword back in 2013 and 2014. But I believe that, I would like to believe that the people who are using AI in whatever capacity, I don't know, maybe using it to solve business problems, are probably the ones that are making the most money right now, right? And if I were to tell myself, hey, you're not passionate about AI, right? You're just curious about it, so you can't pick it as a quote unquote career. I feel like I'd be doing myself a disservice, because it's like there's so few things right now that I think I'm passionate about. Um, and I feel like I'd be missing out on an opportunity, right? But anyway, all this to say, this is just currently what's on my mind, right? When it comes to what might be a key to success, right? To reiterate, it would be obsession. Obsession and leaning into things that cause people to be pessimistic. Because as I said, from the Jeff Bezos letter, one thing that I got from it was that he said when you pay attention to, or when you leaning on things that kind of question the the typical advice, you say, that wasn't the exact words that he used, but like general good advice, when you kind of question it a little bit and you go against the grain, right? Like, you're probably doing the right thing to an extent, right? Because in his words, in Jeff Bezos's letter, he said, if you go against that grain, there's a 10% chance that you could gain a 200x on the outcome that you're looking for. And this is all very broad. Like, if you're really interested in it, I'd recommend just checking out Jeff Bezos's letter to stakeholders. I think it was the 2015 one. Don't quote me. I think it was the 2015 one. But basically, what he said was, it's like if you go against the grain, if you go against general advice, there's basically a 10% chance that might get 200x. But if you stand to gain 200x, even only at 10%, you should probably take it, right? Because I don't know, like 200x is a lot. Like if you thought that you were only gonna make 20,000 on it, but you ended up making what, 200,000. 20,000 times what? 200x is not 200,000. It's more like, I think it's like 4 million actually. If you thought you were gonna make 20,000, but you ended up making like 4 million, but it was only a 10% chance to make 4 million, you might as well take it, right? Expect to fail 9 times out of 10, because that's what 10% is, right? 10% chance of success means you're gonna fail 9 times out of 10. But if you stick to it, imagine the outsized returns, right? I think that's what it is. If you search up Jeff Bezos letter to stakeholders outsized return, then you'll find the thing that I'm talking about. But in summation, one of the keys to success, or outsized returns, is obsession, because that helps with consistency, and picking bets that actually question current wisdom, knowing that you will fail 9 times out of 10, but with the chance to make 200x. I think it was 200x that he said, right? So anyway, that was what was on my mind. Just wanted to put that out there.